go over the beginner's course of fursuit making stuff. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. And as we set this up, I'm going to try to get it up on the screen. I have been working on and off on a small book for beginner fursuit makers, and it goes for literally from start to finish, A to Z. We still have some work in progress points that you might encounter as we power through things and we get this set up. But if we have any questions that are you feel like are pertinent to the topic that we're going over, please don't hesitate to raise your hand. I will get to you as I can. But this Google document is something that will be freely available at the end of the con once I have some time to like open it up towards everyone. It will be posted on my website, as well as the free tail files. I have 100 copies printed. However, if we run out of them, because this is a very full room, then we will just have it up on the website. You can print it out for yourself. It is a simple dovetail, however, it comes with some extra little detailed things that will make a really cool, unique piece for you guys. Now, how many of you guys were at opening ceremonies this morning? Woo! Woo! That's awesome. Good job, guys.
Great turnout. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's really great. So a lot of you did get to see the auction pre-mades that are up. Awesome. Please support our charity. They're really cool and they make amazing shirts every con, and I love them so much. So please, if you have the ability to go down and pay attention to that auction, that would be great. Now, if I could actually get this plugged into my HDMI port, that would be even more swell. And am I close enough to the microphone for everyone in the back?
You are the microphone.
I'll get a little closer for you.
Thank you.
It does not look like I'm connected to the internet, so that's not a big deal. If anything, I'll just pull it up on my phone and I will still read to you from it while everybody else tries to figure that out. So, I am Nafie, as I said earlier. I have been a fursuit maker since 2019. I started literally posting my stuff on Furry Amino because I had no idea like if Fur Affinity was still active or not, because I was in the furry fandom years ago, but like it was mostly on DeviantArt before that came up. So I got into Amino and that was great. And I found a lot of really amazing artists and fursuit makers there who could really like help push us forward. Can you connect me to the event? Thank you. I am gonna sit though. So as I grew in the community and as I began to learn, I really kind of developed a really fun style, and I wanted to share that process and everything that I learned with our community, and that's why I started in 2020 my wonderful thingy, my wonderful book that you guys will hopefully see soon. My history is that I actually used to work in a whole bunch of different things: game studios, veterinary clinics, I used to be a barbecue pit master. I've done a lot. But the only thing I have consistently stuck with is the creative community that the furries have obviously cultivated and done some really wonderful stuff. The other person with me today is this guy over here, who's also setting up the tech stuff. His name is Colin. He's also the owner of Furzone Creations, and he does bodysuits like you cannot believe. They are phenomenal and very well done. And ever since then, I have wanted to like show his work with the world and work with him because he's amazing at what he does. But, thank you. Oh gosh. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna plug it for a second just so you guys don't see my password.
Totally nothing hidden in there.
There's nothing hidden. I'm too cool for school. So Okay. I will, as we go over it, as I said, I'm gonna allow you, allow questions to be asked, things like that. That's the right password. Yes, it's me. Thank you, phone. You know what? I love this. Fantastic. I think we're good.
So how many of you guys actually made a fursuit yourself? We got a few hands here and there. Wonderful. Beautiful. How many would like to start making suits? Everyone. Well, I really hope with what we have to offer today, we'll be able to help you guys either get a way to start your journeys to making full suits, either as a hobby or if you want to build it up to become a business like what we have had the luxury of doing. Or would be able to expand your current knowledge or kind of get you ideas on like what else you can try or other sort of tips, tricks, methods, materials, stuff like that. Sorry, I'm a little winded. I don't have her capacity, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does work. I hope that actually helps.
So as we're waiting for this to load up, let's just kind of go ahead and start with what your basic needs are as a fursuit maker. I have this wonderful little thing here that is full of my everything that I always use. So of course you need your scissors, you need your needle, you need your thread, curved needles, you need stuff like that. But what else do you think you, it's this one. So what else do you think that you guys would really need? It's probably foam, right? You probably want to carve your head, or maybe a head base from a local maker, or maybe even you want to order something online. There's plenty of different suit makers that you can order bases from. My bases are both carved and casted. This is one of our bases. This will eventually, was supposed to be ready for this convention, but didn't quite make it. This is going to be my suit head. So we figured that we'd give you the example of what we're doing here. I'm going to try to take this microphone while this is loading up. Okay.
Wait. There, good.
So my head is a foam casted head. Oh, I can't turn it on. Oh, it is on.
Is it?
Is it on now? Oh,
It's on now.
that was kind of hot. All right. So anyway, so this is my head base, but you can see a couple different things here. This is a foam casted head base, which we cast in house using a mold that I had made for me by the wonderful Lily Moon Suits. They're incredible to work with. Definitely recommend my friends at all at any point in time. But they made my mold and design for me based upon my very specific specifications. Once we casted it, I decided I wanted some more brows. I added some more brows by way of carving them. And now the entire headliner was taped up, sewn together, made. And once it's glued in, after all this tape is taken off, we're just gonna roll through and make some cool stuff. I'm gonna try to record that process for anybody who misses out on anything and show you everything step by step on how I do everything. But for somebody who is just starting, this sounds a little overwhelming, right? So let's start with picking your base. If you want to foam carve it, there are some wonderful patterns available online. The best one to start with that I feel like is the most accessible is Fursuit. Amazing, glorious. Find them on Etsy. It's like a $12 download and you can just grab some 1-inch foam from your local Walmart. I think Michael's now carries it, foambymail.com. Tons of them. Grab 1-inch foam and go to town making them. In fact, that's actually how I started making my fursuit head bases. I found a Fursuit pattern that I loved, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna edit this and make it mine, and I'm gonna have some fun. And you know what? It's all downhill from here, and that's how I wound up here.
So, you know, there we are. Did we get plugged back in?
Yes, we are finally up and running.
Almost plugged in though. So,
Let there be light, I guess.
and it's fine. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me plug back in now that we have everything going.
There we go.
So this is a living document that I actually try to keep updated, and you guys can actually see when I've last updated it. If you haven't seen anything from me from a couple months, feel free to, you know, tweet me, send me a, what's the blue sky word? Send me a blue sky thingy. Like, let me know that what I need to do to update. So we're gonna go ahead and start with exactly where I wanted to start. The basic terms, definitions. We're also going to go with setting up your workspace and what foam casting means, what different types of suits are, and going from there. So, this guide is written specifically for the United States. However, it is mostly applicable in most places. However, some terms and definitions may change based upon where you guys are. So, you'll actually see as you walk through the dealer's den, you'll actually see a lot of people who are selling partials. They will often refer to their partials as, you know, partials instead of mini partials. Mini partials tend to come with hand paws, tail, and a head. Those are the things that you will see at this year's auction pre-mades. Again, you can go and take a view of those on your own down at our table and kind of see what those look like. Partials themselves should also, like a full partial, not a mini, but a full, would include like feet paws. You might actually get a, you know, some makers might include arm sleeves or leg sleeves, so you can wear them with t-shirts or, you know, shorts. But that will really depend on the maker. Most makers that I've seen use the word partial interchangeably with mini partials, so just be aware of that when you do start your fursuit making journey. Full suit, as many of us are in here are either wearing or have seen, that'll be your, you know, full body suit, either digitigrade or plantigrade. It's either, you know, either way. Or you might find quad suits, you know, the people who are kind of bent over and they're like, raw.
Yes, the lost style that no one sees anymore.
Oh yeah, it is a lost style. I would love to see more really cool quad suits. Wink. So if you guys want to try something cool, wink. So it's a little much. It's a lot to do. But if you have the wherewithal, I have faith in you.
There's also half suits that I've seen people make as well, which from waist up would be like the full partial, while waist down would have either furry leggings, just plantigrade, or with the digigrade padding it in there as well, so people can more accessorize their suits, or you can flip-flop it and have the furry torso and regular legs.
Which is honestly kind of awesome. If you're anything like me, I tend to try to make my suits cater to people who are really sensitive to stimuli. I have like very, very intense ADHD, like to a point where like I make sure every day I take my medication. I try to, you know, practice my meditation things that they teach you in therapy to make sure that you're doing things correctly. But a lot of times I can get really overwhelmed if things are touching my face or I'm overheating, things like that. Like half suits are amazing for that. If you overheat, it's okay. Make yourself a half suit. If all you're doing is making a furry torso or furry legs, do it. There is no real wrong way to make a fursuit. There are some, please don't do that for your health and safeties. But honestly, try. Every crafter tries and starts from somewhere. My first suit.
We don't talk about that one.
No, we do not talk about that one. That's a trash fire. That will never see the light of day again. However, I had to start somewhere. So if you want to start with something simple that you feel healthy in, try it. Do a half body. Do something fun for you.
So a couple of the extra terms on here are digitigrade. So if you actually look at the back of dog's legs, like back legs, you can see the perfect digi shape, right? Gorgeous, right? So you'll see a lot of suits around here on the con floor with digi suits. Does any suitor in here have digi legs? Hey, stand up, show us your digi legs. Let's go. Yeah! You want to do a catwalk real quick? Oh, it's all right. Go down the catwalk. Those are some. Come on, you can come on just for a moment. Just for a moment. That would be great.
Oh.
These are wonderful. Let's have you stand right there so everyone can see you. These are really great legs. Yeah. Great legs. Thank you. Grace. Everyone say thank you to Grace. Thank you. That is an awesome, excellent example of digidegrade. And then there is, there's pictures. And then there is plantigrade. Well, hold this, my dude. Wow. That is a plantigrade leg. Plantigrade means that your feet are firmly planted on the ground, while digitigrade means that you are walking on your digits, digitigrade. So, cool little pseudo-Latin. Yes?
Where can you find this?
Right now, it's on the Fursuit Makers Discord. It was available on the Fursuit Makers Discord. At the end of today, this link will be available on my website, stormboundcosplay.com. If you cannot remember that, don't worry. Go down to the dealer's den, pick up one of the cards. It has all the information for you there. Like, I'm right across from, like, our charity table. You'll find me real easy. There's a lot of pink everywhere. It's very pink. And you'll also see all the other stuff there, too. Yes?
Will we be able to join that Discord you mentioned?
Yes, there is a link in here as well. Bear in mind, there are only a few of us who actively moderate, and we do have like kind of a little thing where you have to introduce yourself and then be added to the server. But we do it to make sure that the server is A, safe space, and B, we don't get bots or spammers. So just be aware that it may take 1 or 2 days for us to process and like put you guys in there, but all the information is in there. You guys will be able to join and have a wonderful time. So let's go over some of the fursuit styles before we get into like the eyes and stuff. I know I have the eyes linked beforehand, but that's really just because I like eyes. But let's actually go through some fursuit styles really quickly. So you'll have your hyper toonies, you'll have your normal toonies, you'll have your semi-toonies, which technically a semi-toonie or a semi-realistic is like Christ here. So you have this really cool stylized skull that has a lot of realistic look, but it's not quite 100% realistic. That would be what you would call semi-toonie or semi-realistic. So another version of semi-realistic would be like a realistic head base, but instead maybe they use toonie eyes. Or maybe they have a lot of really crazy, fantastical colors. Those are all examples of how semi-toonie and semi-realistic are kind of like, they're in the same little ball of the Venn diagram, and they have a lot of similarities. And then you have stuff like that's really hyper-toonie, and you'll see I have like some examples up here. Morpholess is a great example, in my opinion, of a hyper-toonie. Yes, you'll have to speak up real loud.
Yes, can you like zoom in on the paper?
You know what? That's a great question. Let me see if Google Docs will make me do that. No, it will not.
Control plus. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a long time since I've needed to do things like this. So it's actually not gonna let me do that? Ah, there we go. I got you. Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. Oh gosh, okay. All right.
It will full screen it. At the bottom, it will full screen it. No.
If we full screen it, I'm afraid that it'll also lose the zoom. So let's just chill. No. That's a great example. That's a great suggestion, though. So thank you. I like it when people are interactive. I like that. So, so then when it comes to kimono, there's a lot of different kimono style makers. A lot of the makers in China. Yeah, come over here. Show us a great version of a kimono. Let's go. Let's do the fursuit catwalk again. Come on. This is a wonderful example of a kimono. Not all kimonos have the cute slides. Some of them will have slightly larger noses. If I recall correctly, Kimono Copy makes this slightly larger noses. I'm a big fan of the kimono style. Love them. These are typically characterized by the classy eyes, the small, triangular nose, and a whole bunch of other really cute things. Thank you so much. What's your name?
Roxy.
Roxy. Everyone say thanks to Roxy. I'm a huge fan of the kimono style. I think it's the cutest thing ever. I have cute aggression when I see it. I'm like, I must squeeze you. You're so adorable. So big fan of that. Other hypertune, but like I want to go back to hypertuning because something just triggered my memory. Fleece rocked. Does anybody remember who Fleece rock is?
I love it.
I know. That is an example of hypertuning.
Where did they?
I have no idea, but what they did is they made all of their suits with awesome fleece, but they did really gross things with it. They like put like pus and like crazy tones. It was so cool. Yeah, so hypertuning doesn't necessarily have to be cute. Hypertuning can be whatever you want it to be. You want to be gross? Make a gross suit. Have fun.
The imagination is endless,
Exactly.
quite literally.
Toonie suits, like my own, tend to try to be a little bit more, I don't want to say appealing for the masses, but we try to like kind of have a little bit more of a toned down look. But you might find some really gross like pustules if somebody's like, hey, I want to commission you. I'll put weird things on mine. Sure, you might find scarring, you might find really cool different aspects, but a lot of us like toonie makers kind of try to like make stuff that can be enjoyed by a huge amount of people, and it tends to not be so pointed, if that makes sense. Pointed for their audience. Juicy Suits, if I recall correctly, no longer makes suits, but they were a really great example of how semi-toony and semi-realistic suits look really, really cool. If their website still exists, I totally recommend going and looking up some of their stuff. Really great. Love their stuff. I'm gonna go down to realistic ones. So there are some amazing realistic makers that also do their semi-realistic ones down at the Fursuit Den today. So if you have a chance and you want to go and take a look at them, there's tons of them in there. Definitely go and see what their realistics look like. They still have like the hooded lids that create a beautiful follow me eye effect. They have tons of cool things that that aren't normally found in toonie suits, like resin heads, 3D printed heads, hard jaw sets, tons of different aspects that really speak to people.
You can also get pretty creative with those. Like I've seen, especially in the Dream Vision Creations suits, they like to put a lot of fans and LEDs inside of their eyes, or little vents inside the heads. You could be very, very creative with the realistics, and you don't have to just go for like dog, cat, horse, whatever. Fantasy is where the realistic style really explodes, because then you can really get into the creative aspect of that, because there's really no rules you have to follow for it.
Exactly. So I am going to skip ahead a little bit because I actually meant to move this section down a little bit. So I'm actually going to skip ahead just to where and we will be going over all this. Don't worry, we're not losing anything. It's just a lot of explanation of fox fur and my own personal ratings of things. But honestly, what I really wanted to do first was go over now that we've gone over the basics, let's go over what supply list you guys might need. And let's go over how to set up your workspace. Then we'll go back over the fabric types, all right? So first and foremost, you want to get started. You want a fursuit, you want to do some great stuff. The required stuff is in this list. You'll see on the dock when you guys want to go through it. You definitely need some fabric scissors. If you're going to make multiple fursuit heads, go ahead and invest in the good stuff. These are $50 a pair of scissors. I never let anybody touch them but me. They are amazing. They are my favorite darlings. And honestly, this is just Fiskars. Gingham scissors are like $70. They cut like butter.
And if you take care of them properly, they will last you years. I have a pair of Fiskars from my great grandmother that still cut paper like it was brand new.
Bought this before I even started making fursuits for a living. This was my first purchase. Yes.
You mean taking care of properly.
Just make sure that you don't use your fabric scissors on paper or anything other than fabric, and you can use that slightly on foam, but nothing but fabric touches these. You don't need to oil them. You don't need to like mess with the screw, because some of
Well, some of them you have to.
I mean the gingham ones, yes, but the Fiskars, I've never had to touch them.
And my God, do not drop them.
Yes, do not drop them. Yes. Not a single time.
Really?
If you treat your workspace and the things you get well, and if you get quality goods, they will last you your entire fursuit making and crafting career. That goes with anything you want to do craft-wise. So make sure that when you get something and you want to go for it, get the good stuff.
Definitely spend the money if you can. It might look scary, but it will definitely be worth the money in the long run.
One thing that I didn't include on this list that I will literally be doing almost right now is also a pair of forceps. You can literally just get these on Amazon. I don't recommend a lot of the Amazon ones, but if you can find a medical supply site or like a nursing place that like supply scrubs, grab one of theirs.
Or a small trip to the ER.
Oh. That is actually how I ended up with like 4 extra ones, so don't worry about that. I totally didn't need stitches that time. But no, honestly, a lot of places have really good quality forceps. You might be able to find some at like computer hardware stores. They're okay. Get the medical ones. They scratch less. So fine point fabric scissors. My favorite fabric scissors that I found a few years ago that were recommended to me, and I have recommended to everybody ever since, back in, since I started making them, are Singer Nano Tip Scissors. These little green thingies are kind of expensive, but they're amazing. They stay sharp for a very long time. Yes, I replace mine frequently just because I'm mean to these ones instead of my big ones. But these are amazing, and they're very, very nice for your grip when you actually want to cut things. You want some other things like extendable snapping razors. You can find big cases of these on Amazon, but you can also get them Walmart. Walmart has them. Like if you don't want to support Wally World, go and find your local craft store, and they'll have these. These are also with replaceable snappable blades, so they're really, really handy, and a box cutter. Your sewing needles, I actually have them listed here. So the types of needles, you'll actually want small embroidery, so a very tiny head, amazing for very intense detailed markings, and cotton darning ones. Cotton darning ones are really great because they're a bigger needle, and it makes it a lot easier to do your blanket stitches, your loop stitches, all that stuff. Dual temperature hot glue gun. I have multiple hot glue guns and a hot glue melting pot. You want your clippers for shaving. Personal recommendation, the Andis AGC2. It's a 2-speed, and it has replaceable blades. So, you just snap it off, snap it back on, and get exactly what you need.
What about ceramic blades?
Hard recommend. Ceramic blades.
Is it that much better?
I've never had to sharpen a single ceramic blade ever, and live in Houston, so it's super, super humid all the time. Every single one of my normal blades rusts, and it's gross and gross.
Yep.
This is awesome.
Yes.
I saw 2 different hands. I don't know who came up first. So, okay, cool. I'm gonna go with you first because you have a cool
How
hat.
do you maintain the clippers?
Great question. Did I bring it? I did. I brought 2 things.
Brought the cool one.
Yeah, I brought it. So this right here is a big ol' honkin' brush that I got from Sally's. They have a bunch of these. These are specifically actually to brush off people's shoulders after they get like a haircut or they beard trim. Get one for you. You're gonna wanna just fluff it up. I didn't mean to have extra fluff in there. I'm so sorry. So you're gonna wanna fluff it up, get anything big out of there.
And then this is Andis Cool Care. It used to be called Cool Loop, but clearly they moved away from that for reasons. And so this is actually really, really good. It's for clipper legs. It is a 5-in-1, and usually when you hear about 5-in-1 products, you're like, I don't know about that. No. This is the good stuff. This one has a coolant, so if you are using it and you need to like spray out your blade and you need to pull off your blade so you don't melt your fur, it'll cool it down. It has a disinfectant, so if you accidentally cut yourself shaving somehow, don't ask. And then just a few. If your fursuits are blood, sweat, and tears, literally. So, be prepared. But it is a disinfectant. It lubricates your blades, and it also lubricates the actual motor itself. So long as you're not spraying it directly into the motor, just spray it on the blade.
Avoid the eyes.
And avoid the eyes. It also cleans it out, and it acts as a rust preventative. So this stuff is amazing, and you can bulk order it. This one is Andis Cool Care. If you need to take a picture, I will take a picture now. Otherwise, I will put a picture in the doc later, and then you guys will know exactly what to find. And then I saw Owo back there with your question.
Can you tell what the name of the clippers are again?
Yeah, Andis AGC 2-speed. There's going to be a couple different options on there. They came out with a new model that is a little bit more inexpensive, but I have heard some mixed reviews. Some people really like it, and some people have complained about their motors breaking. If you want their old model, the motors seem to last a lot longer. I have had this set for 6 years, and I've never had an issue. Some people also really, really like the hands-free. Feel free to use hands-free. It's great. Some people swear by it, and it's wonderful. But just make sure you have the one that has the interchangeable blades. Do not get one that has a little swoopy thing on the side to make the blade length change. Reason being is you're stuck with a 10 blade on it, which is a very, very short shave, and it only goes up to, I believe, like an 8 if you measure it up, and it's not always going to be very accurate shaving. So try to get the ones with interchangeable blades. Oh my god, my bed is like trying to push that over, sorry. So clippers for shaving, that's my big jazz. Paintbrushes, I use the scumbling technique, which is a type of painting where you literally just do that on whatever you're doing. It's scumbling, so I ruin all my brushes, so I just get cheap bulk brushes. If you like to use nicer brushes, go for it. Just treat them better than what I do. For me, the scumbling method gives a little bit better of a gradient. So again, if you want to look that up, that is a fine art technique that's usually used in oil painting.
Question.
Yes.
Are we gonna get into anywhere with moving jaws and stuff?
Yes, actually, just a little bit, but that's mostly an advanced course type thing. I can talk about it briefly here for your benefit. So moving jaws you'll see a lot in realistics. You'll see them sometimes in toonies, not often. My toonies, I have 3D printed toonie heads that I have done. I sincerely wish that my husband had brought his head so I could show you what a toonie one with moving jaw looks like. But honestly, you'll see them mostly on 3D printed or resin cast heads. You can see some in some foam, but oftentimes when you move the jaw, in the foam one, it doesn't have as much stretch. So if you want a really cool talking jaw effect, absolutely go for your resin and go for your 3D printed ones. So those are a little bit more difficult to pattern, and we'll go over that in the advanced course later on if you want to do that. Thank you! I got thingies. Sorry, I got really excited because I got thingies. They're cool kids. Several rolls of masking tape or duct tape. What you'll actually see on mine is you'll see duct tape, but another thing that you'll see here is, for patterning purposes, this isn't just saran wrap. It's actually the packing wrap that you can get from any store like U-Haul, or Walmart has them in bulk, and they have a little thing where you just wrap around. It makes it so much easier, like, to create a really nice silhouette, because if you look here, it creates a little bit more of a curve, and you don't see as much of the hard foam endings right here. So you'll see like
how this kind of has a line there and it looks like a hard little foam ending and it's not fully like glued in. The saran wrap, if you use a lot of it, really works. You can use normal saran wrap if you're making a normal, like just a head for you. But if you're making something for multiple people, totally recommend packing wrap.
And that's not just limited to just the heads. I've used plastic wrap for my bodysuits for patterning those. I've seen people use the plastic wrap for even patterning the faces. I don't know how to do it, but they do it. But it's a very versatile item that you can use on just about anything.
Your thread, you should always try to get a high quality thread that is similar to the color of fur, but is not required to be similar to the color of fur. If you're using it for faces, try really hard to find a good color of your thread. Sometimes if you're not sewing your faces tight enough, you might see some thread poke through and it's really helping to help. However, if you're doing bodysuits and you're using a sewing machine, it's okay if you have something that is close. But honestly, I use a lot of white and a lot of black and a lot of gray.
You can hand sew a bodysuit.
Yeah, I've done that. Don't. That's how you get carpal and cuticle tunnel, and then you have to have the surgery. Don't do that.
It took me 2 semesters to hand sew a full suit. So
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah. So try for a sewing machine.
It'll save you a lot of time.
Yep. 3 to 6 yards of faux fur fabric. That's if you're doing a full suit. You might only need a yard and a half to like a 2 yards for the other one. Yes. Hi.
Sewing machine or surgery?
Sewing machine. So there's a lot of, thank you for bringing that up. That was a point that I completely forgot I wanted to go over. Thank you. So there's a lot of confusion in our community of whether or not search teams or sewing machines are one and the same. Which one should you use? That's a great question. So a lot of sergers actually can't handle really thick fur fabric. Don't ask me how I know, having broken two $2,000 sergers trying to go through stuff. Yeah, don't do that. It's not fun. You have to pay a lot of money to get them repaired. So they are useful. Sergers are really useful for exactly what they're built for: finishing seams. That's it. They are literally there to cut off the excess seam allowance and put a piece of, like a few pieces of not tense thread, which is a full 100% polyester thinly woven thread, or thinly spun thread, that is just meant to keep the edges of your fabric from fraying. It's not meant to be a stabilizing stitch or an attaching stitch like some people or some companies will do. A lot of our stuff that comes manufactured from places you'll see actually has a serged seam. Look at your sleeves right now if you're wearing a t-shirt. Look at the end of your sleeves. Right here where it tucks underneath, that is a serger seam. That is a type of serging. And that is not meant to do anything but to keep your shirt from fraying. So serge seam is great, and only if you're doing a bodysuit and you need to finish out everything. Then you have something like an overlocking stitch, which is made with a normal sewing machine. On a normal sewing machine, I like overlocking stitches, but I try to use them with a straight stitch if I can. But for the most part, it's using a higher tension, higher quality thread. It's using all of the stuff that a normal sewing machine can do, and it's creating the overlocking to keep things from fraying at the same time. Now, would I put this in a wedding dress? Not without a straight stitch. Would I put this in a fursuit that I know the suitor is going to be crazy? They're gonna go dance, they're gonna go have fun. I'd probably do it, and I'd stabilize it with a straight stitch or a zigzag. But in all honesty, the overlocking stitch on your normal sewing machine is a lot better than a normal serging stitch because it's not a finishing stitch. It's actually meant to hold things together. So just be a little cautious. You can use a serger if you like, but just make sure you have that extra little stabilizer of the normal stitch. Thank you for bringing that up. That's very important. I very much appreciate it. So your paw pad material, if we're moving right along here, your paw pad material is commonly used fabrics like, fleece or written on fleece. Nobody saw that. Minky. You'll have your mochi minky. Would you like to hold so I can show them how stretchy? It's stretchy.
It's stretchy, extremely soft.
It's stretchy, extremely soft. What we call mochi minky is actually technically velour. So anybody who's watched Futurama, this is what Zach Brannigan wears. It's blue. Exactly. So there you go. Then you'll want some, if you want like faux leather, that's really great. Make sure you have like some stabilization on the back end. We'll go over stabilization later. Felt fleece for your eyes, your mesh for your acrylic eyes. You can find that online. I'll get to you in just a second. I just want to get through this because
Gotta finish the thought.
yeah, I gotta finish the thought. And plus, we're kind of a little bit short on time. Shorter than I want it to be. And then we have a small amount of felt or fleece for your eyes, and you know, a bit large tooth zipper. You can find them the YKK with a large tooth, and your cheap fabrics for pillow padding and other types. That is something that is gone over. So you have your different types of, like your cotton. I like cotton. Cotton's a great wicking fabric. Do that. Or neoprene, or spacer mesh. Those are tons of different types. Now that I'm through that specific section, please ask your question.
Do you have a list of websites where you get fur from?
Yes, actually, furs, there's a ton of different makers who manufacture fur. So if you actually don't know, a few years ago, Shannon Fabrics, the makers of most of the Minky products, actually stopped making their fursuit, their fur line. And that's actually why you had a lot of fur suppliers go up in upheaval and find new ways to make fur fabric. So now we have great names in our community like How Fabrics. They make a lot of really cool fur. We have Big Z Fabric. It's not, some of their fabrics are not quite as high in quality, except for I love their beaver line. Amazing beaver fur. I'll get to you in just a second. We also have Fabric Empire. Personal favorite, big ups to them, an Australian manufacturer called Fur Addiction and Puma's Bears. They make the best fur ever. Oh my God. It feels
Pricey, but
amazing.
my God, the quality is outstanding.
The quality is phenomenal. So there are tons of different ones. Most of those are listed in the Fursuit Maker Discord, but thank you for reminding me. I need to include it in my list. We had a question back.
What kind of material would you use for like scales?
For like scales? Honestly, I have a couple different things that I would use. I would use EVA foam, which is primarily to make the scale at first, and then I would actually cover that with like a faux leather or a faux vinyl, dependent, but I would try to get a thinner one, just so you have a lot of flexibility. But
You would attach that, like, if there you had fur around it, looking that way.
so if you have fur around it, I would literally just take, if it's EVA foam that's been stabilized with your fabric, I wouldn't have a problem just taking your, like maybe some upholstery thread or high-end Gutermann thread, which is this baby here. It's amazing and it's really, really good and really slick. I would take that and I would just do a couple loop stitches through it and just stitch each scale individually. I wouldn't use a sewing machine because the tension of your thread might actually tear any EVA foam and other stuff. So just be conscientious of that.
Question in the front.
Regarding fur, I do know that a lot of, even the American companies who sell fur, still manufactured in China. Considering the tariffs are likely to be jacking those prices up, do you know of any domestic manufacturers?
One, and they have a wait list 9 months long, and they are exceedingly expensive. And that is NFT. And if most of you guys have seen really cool long hair on suits, it's usually NFT hair, and it takes a lot. I'm gonna get you in the front. I know. Hi, Dartambe. Hi.
Quick note on scales question. If you hate yourself or feeling particularly brave, the Ring Lord does sell a metal and plastic scales for scale nailing, which can't be utilized across the street.
You are absolutely correct. And if you do want to utilize the Ring Lord for their stuff, for practice, absolutely. They have some great scale mail. Yes.
Oh, that's a hot topic.
I have opinions about sublimation. So I know a lot of makers love sublimation. I know, and sublimation eyes could look really, really good. If you have shaky hands and painting is hard for you, and you don't want to make a lot of patterns and templates like I do, I literally draw all of my patterns onto pieces of paper, like cardstock, and cut them out and use them as like
Paper stencils.
paper stencils to make my eyes.
Which
right?
makes getting symmetry so much easier.
Yeah, I do a lot of that, but I know a lot of people like to opt for sublimation. Sublimation is great fun, but it's exceedingly expensive, and it is not something that I would recommend for any beginner to do, mainly because That's a lot of money and time and effort to put into it and make it come out right. If I were you and you're a beginning maker and you want sublimated eyes, go for it, order from somebody. But unless you already have a sublimation setup, probably order, or maybe just, it's okay. It's okay to hand paint it. It's okay if they're a little bit lopsided. It's okay if they're wonky. That means it's an artisan product. And it also means that it's yours. Just say it, yes.
For the beginner in the ring, can you explain what sublimation is?
Sublimation is the process of putting an ink, a specialty ink, upon a thing like vinyl, t-shirts, things like of that nature. In fact, anybody in here have a cool printed t-shirt that is not like heat press? I'm trying to see. Yes, that is a great example. Both of you come up here. Let's see, I'm gonna show you guys off. This is an example of sublimation done. What it does is it allows you to create some really cool patterns and really cool things onto a shirt, and they look great. You can get a lot of detail out of them. They are really cool. In eyes and being used on, oh, hold on. Both of you say your names so we can all say thank you.
That.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Works.
And who?
Works.
Lurks, okay. Say thank you, everyone. They are great examples of how sublimation eyes can really give you a lot of detail. But when they are printed onto vinyl, which is typically what nowadays a lot of sublimation makers use for their eye blanks, that can lose a lot of detail and a lot of vibrance. I personally think that if you're gonna make a handmade item, go all out, paint, get the vibrance, have some fun. All of my eyes are hand painted. You want an example of hand painted cool eyes? Go down to my table and look at the stuff up for auction. I put glitter on them. So have some fun with that. But if you like them, use them. There's no wrong way to make a suit.
Yeah, don't be afraid to mess up. Messing up is just stepping stones to become successful.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
You will learn from it.
Yep. So I'm just gonna try to move a little bit quickly. I will get to in just a moment. So polyfill is normal for stuffing. You can also find specialty mochi stuffing. I believe it is sold under Perfect Loft. Now that's really great. High density foam and varying thicknesses. Since Joann's is going out now and cannot provide the foam, foambymail.com, your local Walmart, or Foamcast or Cry. That's all we got right now until somebody else picks up the foam market for us. However, do keep an eye out for your local quilt shops. Some of them are starting to carry good foam, so keep an eye out on that. I know a lot of people don't really like Hobby Lobby, but Hobby Lobby has amazing foam. So
Yeah, they're kind of a last resort, but they still have some good stuff.
and their stuff is really nice. So it makes me very angry to use them. So I walk in doing this, and I get the foam, and I'm angry, and then I walk out and I'm like, Hobby Lobby. But you know, like they have good stuff. EVA foam, you can get that pretty much anywhere. I get mine online, and I also like from Amazon, or I get them from Hobby Lobby. You can use and other materials that you might want to do, or polymer clay if you want to make a model, so you can actually like make a model after that. Plastic cloths if you want like the resin stuff, or resin or plastic cloths. Any just basic fabric like muslin or cotton for patterning. Paper, I like cardstock for patterning. Acrylic paint, I like Liquitex is one of my favorites. I also, you know, your chalk, Sharpies, and other marking items. I know I'm coming close to the end, so I'll
10 minutes.
Yeah, but I want to open the floor for questions and let people start asking things a little bit more. I'm so sorry we got off to a very slow start. It was kind of a bad move on my part, but all of this will be available for you, I swear to God.
Yeah,
and if you have questions, please, my Telegram is literally on my business card at my booth. Pick it up. Ask me. I will do my best to help you. Now, I saw 2 people with their hands raised. So go ahead and raise them back up and I'll get to you each. Let's start with you.
Have you ever interacted or know about like hidden eyes for fursuits?
Like replaceable?
Where you're seeing to not where the eyes are.
Oh yeah, so like in a realistic, a realistic suit might have them in the tear ducts, so it's not actually out of that. Or some people have like giraffe heads and they see out through the neck. All that is, it's the same type of mesh that you would use on the eye, which is a 70-30 vinyl mesh. And it's very easy to find. Yes?
Does the documents include likely vendors for the materials?
It will, because of Joanne being out. That is something that has been requested by multiple people, including one that I see sitting right over there with a wonderful hi. I know you asked me about places other than Joanne's. I will include it in the doc. I got you. Yes, I will get the one right behind the kimono face and then I'll come back to you, okay? A custom face mold? Yes. This is a custom face mold. I did it. I love it. I'm going to use it for a lot of things, but I'm also going to edit the shape for each individual thing that I like. I think it's worth it. However, that's if you are doing multiple suits for multiple people. If you are just doing the beginner stuff, buy one and then cut it around and add a bunch of foam to it. Have some fun with it. Take it as a creative thing. Yes. No. You have the glasses. You've asked a few questions, so go ahead. You, yeah. Yes, you. The one you're pointing to yourself. Yes.
Okay. I have one something that has sublimation question. Because of the cost of this really high, sublimation with different parts really high maintenance. You have to put your meat to be able to use this successfully. Really was just using different parts of sublimation.
Yep. You're very right. If anybody couldn't hear that, is definitely use a third party to sublimate your stuff. It's super useful and it's super great, and you'll have your very detailed eye of it very quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on Etsy that sell either pre-made sublimated eyes, or you can send them files of either stuff that you've drawn yourself, or they would have a set of different designs that you can pick from, and they would custom size the sublimated eyes for whatever eye size or blanks that you have, so it can fit them.
I have one in the back, and then I'll come back for you. Okay? Yes.
Alright, so your first suit goes to your grave, obviously, but what about your second? How much progress do you think you've made?
My second one's actually on my website. And my second one is the first one that I advertised. Her name is Rindy. She was gorgeous. I had only a few seams that I actually sewed on her. I glued the seams because I didn't know what I was doing yet.
Same.
Yeah, but you know what? It worked. And I took her to 2 or 3 different cons and I really loved her. So do it. If you have to glue the seams, it's okay. It's on my website though. And then the one right after that is when I really started picking up steam. So, took a while. Yes.
What is the biggest mistake that first time makers make that you would desperately want to make sure they can? No, Josh.
My biggest, that's a great question. I did see your hand over here, so I will come back to you. I'm so sorry.
I think that could vary per person for some things.
For me, it was expecting too much of myself to be like the big name makers. I wanted so badly, because at the time, multicolored bark was called Autumn Fall, and they were huge, huge. And I looked at their stuff and I admired it and I loved it. And then I made my first suit and I literally cried. Because I was like, it doesn't look anything like theirs. What did I do? I was expecting too much of myself. You can watch techniques all day. You can hear and listen and talk to people all day. But what makes a good suit maker is practice. That's with cosplay, that's with video games, that's with MOBAs. I got diamond for diamond ranks for reasons, y'all. I practiced, and that's all I did. And that is what will make you guys great makers. Try things. I'll get to you in just a second. You had a question.
It technically had to do with a different topic.
That's okay. If you want me to come back to you, I can.
Later.
Got it. On it. Hey, Colin, would you like to prepare by going to the entrance and having the full patterns just chilling?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Start up. Okay.
Assuming you don't have anything.
Assuming that you don't have anything.
But roughly expect to invest over a period of a couple months $1,000 at least, because you're going to want a decent sewing machine. So a good starter sewing machine is the Serger 55 or 4452. Okay, good starter to heavy duty. You'll want to get rid of it fairly quickly because they do break down. You want this clipper with a few of the blades that I have listed, easily going to be $250. Then your fur, your other stuff, about $1,000. I'll get to you in just a second. I got 2 more, and then I got you. Okay, I'm going to go with you over there. I'll get to you in just a second. Can I call you Glasses because I recognize your glasses now?
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Yes, you. White shirt. Yes.
So a friend of mine was talking about a black foam. I forget the name of the freaking called it, but I was wondering if you thought working with more.
Foam by mail, and it's just a charcoal foam. It's just a charcoal high density foam. Literally, it's just the same stuff as the stuff that you can get from like Hobby Lobby, but because it has charcoal in it, it tends to absorb nasty scents very quickly, but it is a lot more expensive. Still feels the same, still cuts the same. Really good, but it's up to you on how you want to vibe with that. It's a good stuff though. I saw his and then I got you. Yes.
About the clippers.
Yes.
Are they also rug tufting?
2 other what?
Rug tufting.
Rug tufting, if I recall correctly, has a more powerful motor, and they also have like a little plate that goes on them to keep the rug nice and flat. I've seen makers use them interchangeably, but honestly, the closest thing to these clippers that you would use them for, dog grooming, cat grooming. You want to shave your cat? I don't recommend it. It's not fun, but you can shave your cat. Great stuff. Yes. The 2 major ones that I recommend people to go to are Hell Fabrics and Big Z. Those are the most known manufacturers. You have smaller manufacturers like Fabric Empire, Fur Addiction. There's some really cool ones overseas, but you might need a translator. But those are primarily where I would recommend people to go. Fabric.com was never worth it, so I would never recommend that. And I have one more question, and then I'm going to try to let people go so they can start set up a little early, and then you guys can come up here and ask me questions as well. I saw 2 hands. I guess I'll do 2. We'll start with you.
So if you can't sew, it's okay to glue the same.
If you're just starting and you're just learning and it's on yours and it's not something that you're providing to somebody else, do it. Have fun. Glue that. Oh, I can't curse. I'm sorry. There might be younglings in here, so I won't curse. But glue that S. Do it. Have fun. Do what you need to do to learn and whatnot. But hand sewing is really easy. The tutorials for hand sewing are 3 minutes long for a reason. That's how easy they are. They're way easier than if you are a gamer like me and you're looking for directions on how to do stuff, easier than any game direction video that you can find. If you can handle learning how to find a puzzle and solve it in Elder Scrolls, you can handle hand sewing. Promise. Yes.
So, I wanted doesn't have
like the character has a wheelchair, or the character is like a mermaid. I have seen a few of those. Typically, I've seen them made for primarily disabled people. However, if you are interested in learning more about that or figuring out how to do that, reach out to me on my Telegram. Send me your pictures and all your stuff. I'm happy to talk to people. I talk all day. I talk forever. Yes.
What is the best thing about 3D printing like a head base?
Mm-hmm. Do you have your own 3D printer, large scale 3D printer, or?
Fuzzbuttfursuits.com.
I'm sorry, my first real Toonie 3D printed heads, they custom made for me, and they've kept my file completely custom and completely secret. So anytime that I they have worked with me, and they have been wonderful. I've had dinner with them. They're amazing people to work with. You might have a little bit of toughness communicating with them in Discord, because there might be a tone difference that they're not being able to detect. But if you can make it past that, they were so kind to me, and they've done a lot to make really cool shit.
Nobody heard that. Earmuffs. They make some really cool stuff. Go for it. They're great. I don't see any other hand raising, so if you guys want to come and ask, oh, okay, one more, and then we gotta cut, because they gotta do the thing.
Where do we find models for it?
Honestly, Thingiverse has some cool models that are free. Printables have some cool models that are free. However, you're gonna do a lot to them. It's a lot of work. I would just pay the $120 to $150 from like makers like Fuzzbutt. I think Spirit Panda always seems to have some really cool kimono styles, but it's all already, they already have the springs in there. They already have all the shapes ready to go for you. I would just do that instead of trying to print it on, like, I have a massive printer. It's a pain. So I would really recommend just get the mold, go from there. You'll have a good time. It'll be a lot better for you. So, all right, guys. They've got it set up and we gotta get going. So if you want a cool pattern, it's up in the front, or you can find it on the website and print it when you are done. You will probably need 8 by 15.